Hello everyone and welcome to my 6th review. Today I'll be reviewing EP by Jpegmafia. I know that all these songs were revealed as singles earlier, but I've only listened to Bald and the Bald remix with Denzel Curry, so it was cool that most of this was a first experience for me. What I did hear for the first time was personally disappointing, but let's get into this. Bald is probably my favorite song, with his clapping alongside the other percussion, and the loop sample is very good honestly. Jpegmafia's rapping isn't anything spectacular besides the chorus. I think the chorus is extremely catchy. Even though this is one of my favorite songs, Peggy's lyrics don't get too interesting after a while. This is a great song though. Covered in Money is now actually my favorite song, with a great instrumental with a heavy kick I think, and the chant, making it very catchy and attention grabbing. The intro is just a bunch of things together which makes it sound weird, and that's probably my biggest problem with this EP. Is that he tries too hard to be different musically by just combining a bunch of things that don't go together really. It does work sometimes, but the song isn't really a good example. Like how there's just some random guitar that appears in the middle of the song and leaves, and it goes to a beat switch, which is pretty good. I think he shouldn't have used auto-tune. I seriously think his normal voice would have been fine, but it's a pretty good song. Bodyguard is more of a slower song, you could say, with him singing. His singing is nice at some points, but just like the end of Covered in Money, there's so much auto-tune it ruins it. I'm not mad that he's singing, but I would have been fine with him using his normal voice. The instrumental is nice, but it's a decent song in general. The Bald remix isn't anything new besides not having any of Jpegmafia's verses and replacing it with Denzel Curry verse. His verse is great, but I kind of would have liked one verse from Jpegmafia, but it's a great remix. On Cutie Pie, his rapping is very monotone, which fits so well with this great instrumental. With the instrumental, has great drums with good bass. Does some of the best rapping on the EP. It is actually a pretty good song. Okay, now I'm sorry, but I'm changing it. The Benz is now my favorite, with a very slow and quiet sounding instrumental with great drums. At first I thought this would maybe be a remix of the Benz by Earl Sweatshirt, and he does reference sly tendencies, but this does seem to be more political than I thought it would be. I know it shouldn't have to be political to say Black Lives Matter, support Black Lives, but I mean how he talks about Trump. This song is non-support, I guess, toward the black community, saying my leader treat me like an enemy. And I actually don't have a problem with him saying there is verses with a combination of both singing and rapping, because it's more monotone and not too much auto-tune. Definitely my favorite. Now Rush 7 is probably my least favorite song, but honestly just because of how long the intro is. It gets very boring after a while. After that, Tommy Genesis isn't too interesting to me. She sounds pretty awkward during the end of her verse. Then Jpegmafia says what he usually says, but it's more hyper than usual. But he's also not too interesting. This seems more like a Tommy Genesis song featuring Jpegmafia just because of how much she's on it more than Peggy, and became a skip to me. Living Single is another one of my least favorites just because of how messy the instrumental can be sometimes. It just ruins the mood for me sometimes. His sing does sound pretty weird in the beginning. I don't have a problem with him trying to sing, but less auto-tune, and I prefer singing more low, I guess. You do what you want to do though, and like what you like. This is just what I like, but another one of my least favorites personally. I do understand this is probably a more personal song to him, but it's just not for me. Now I bought this EP on Bandcamp before Super Tuesday was released, so I won't have the experience of listening to it for the first time while listening to the EP for the first time, but I will say this is a decent track. The instrumental is great, and I like how for the second verse the instrumental is like at half speed, but it doesn't seem like he talks about anything new. It just seems like he's critiquing his haters, saying they just hate him because they're not him, which could be true for some, but I'm fine how I am. I mean, I don't hate who he is. I wish him the best with the future. He's doing better than so many people, me included, but I'm not that big of a fan of his music. And I hope I can have opinion when it comes to this, and you can have opinion of my work. I just review music because this is what I like, and I want to share music that I like or might not. Sorry for that tangent, but this song isn't his best work, but it's not horrible. And all I really have to say left is meh, decent, but not bad really. This is definitely a project that I have to listen to more. 5 out of 10. Thank you for watching.